Hello, it's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this 28th day of June 2017. Well, as we speak, there is turmoil in Israel, especially Jerusalem. And as you might not expect, it has nothing to do with the Palestinians. It has much to do with the internal struggles of the religious aspects of Jerusalem and the Western Wall especially. There has been an attempt to have the Western Wall open to both men and women praying. But the Orthodox, the ultra-Orthodox Jews especially, have come against this, vehemently come against this. Let me read some excerpts that have described what's going on over there. The government of Israel, Knesset, on Sunday, this past Sunday, canceled, at least for a time, a long overdue plan to open a mixed gender, men and women, a mixed gender prayer area at the Western Wall in Jerusalem. A major policy reversal that infuriated the liberal streams of Judaism that represent most of the Jews in the United States. The egalitarian prayer plan, men and women praying together, was approved in January 2016 as a compromise reached after years of negotiations between liberal Israeli and American Jewish groups and the Israeli authorities. It was seen as a significant breakthrough in promoting religious pluralism in Israel, where the ultra-Orthodox establishment controls every aspect of Jewish life. There has been a significant response on the part of American Jews from the Reform community and the conservative Jewish community. Jewish Agency Director Natan Sharansky said he was, quote, deeply disappointed by the government's decision to suspend the egalitarian prayer plan, which would have created a respectable and equal prayer space at the Western Wall. The Union for Reform Judaism President Rabbi Rick Jacobs tweeted, quote, just landed in Israel to the news that Netanyahu has walked away from our Kotel agreement. Kotel has reference to the Western Wall. We will see him in court. Jacobs later issued a statement saying Prime Minister Netanyahu's decision to say no to his previous yes is, quote, an unconscionable insult to the majority of world Jewry. But not only is it an attempt to keep women out of the Western Wall from praying, but it also will revoke state recognition, this act of the government on Sunday, will also revoke state recognition of Orthodox converts who converted in non-state, that is, outside of Israel. Orthodox rabbinical courts and the right of such converts who are not citizens to gain citizenship under the law of return. That would mean, for example, Ivanka Trump, who was converted outside of the state of Israel, could not become a citizen of Israel because of her conversion was not conducted and approved within Israel. So there's turmoil, and it's not resolved as yet. But interestingly enough, the scriptures speak to this issue. And I think it's important because scriptures speak of something that many of the Jews aspire to, and that's a third temple. And their plans are already made. All the accoutrements necessary for it are in place. They just need the Knesset okay to actually build it, and that would be to determine where as well. So there will be a third temple. But scriptures speak of it, Matthew chapter 24, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. There will be a third temple, but it will be desecrated by the Antichrist. He'll place himself in this temple, and he will require that people acknowledge him as God. It's called the abomination of desolation. Now, interestingly enough, the scriptures do speak with regard to a temple. Isaiah, for example, says this in Isaiah chapter 56, verses 6 and 7, especially verse 7, "My house will be called a house of prayer for all peoples." English says nations, but it means for all peoples. And interestingly enough, Jesus quotes this when he cleanses the temple. It's become a place of retail merchandising, and he cleanses it, overturns the tables, kicks all the people out of there that are engaged in this. And he says this, "Is it not written, my house will be called," this is in all the Gospels, it's in Mark chapter 11, verse 17, "My house will be called a house of prayer for all peoples." He's quoting Isaiah. Now that's not going to happen with the Western Wall. Christians couldn't go there. Not according to the Orthodox. And what about the third temple that comes when the Antichrist rules? No. When this will be fulfilled, it will take shape and be fulfilled in the way that Ezekiel speaks of it in Ezekiel chapter 40, chapter 40 through 48. A temple that Messiah will reign over. And then indeed it will be a house of prayer for all peoples. Then and only then will Jesus' prophecy be fulfilled. My house will be a house of prayer for all people. And that's the truth.